Joining us now on the Deseret First Credit Union Hotline is ESPN college football expert and insider Trevor Maddich. Trevor, first and foremost, Happy New Year, my friend.
Happy New Year to you guys, too. How was your experience at Times Square?
It was fantastic as I sat on my couch in 72-degree comfortable heat and watched the ball drop.
I went to bed at 10.
I thought that was you guys being body surfed over the top of the crowd across Times Square. I'm sorry, that was mistaken identity.
That was in the ROC, the student section at the basketball game.
We can aspire. We have a dream to one day pull off something like that. At least the ball dropping was a little more exciting than, in my opinion, the college football playoff games. A couple of blowouts per se. Did the outcomes of the national semifinals surprise you in any way, Trevor?
Not the outcomes, no. What surprised me was the way that the Clemson-Ohio State game actually turned out. I thought that Ohio State would really struggle to move the ball against Clemson's defense, but I didn't expect them to be completely shut out that way. It was an amazingly dominant performance, and so that's what surprised me. But I expected it to be Clemson and Alabama in the final.
Who has more momentum going into the national title game after those games?
Well, I think Clemson thinks they have more momentum because their game was truly dominant, whereas Ohio State, their offense only scored 2 touchdowns. It was a defensive pick six and a defensive forced fumble that led to a field goal that provided the rest of the margin of victory for them. So Alabama played well, but at the same time, it wasn't a dominating victory like it might seem from the scoreboard. The Clemson one, though, dominating on the scoreboard. But it was against an Ohio State offense that when they struggled to throw the ball deep, they struggled across the 50. I mean, Indiana, they could barely move the ball against Indiana because they couldn't throw the ball deep. And when it was established that J.T. Barrett and those receivers couldn't connect down the field, it was pretty clear that it was going to be a cakewalk for the Clemson defense. And so I don't think Clemson should think that they're as dominant as that score seems to indicate.
ESPN's Trevor Maddich with us on BYU Sports Nation. Clemson, Alabama, Part 2, a rematch of last year's national championship. Clemson scored 40 points last year and lost to Alabama. This year, what do you see happening between the Tigers and the Tide?
I see the score being lower, but I see a lot of similarities in this game. Both defenses will be very disruptive. That's why I see the score being lower. Both offenses will play to not put their own defense on a short field. And so I think you'll see offenses play close to the vest until they're forced to open it up if they fall behind for some reason. But I think ultimately it'll come down to which team has the better performance at quarterback. And Jalen Hurts, his job this year has not been to go out and make a lot of big plays. His job has been to protect the ball, make a few plays here and there, and let the defense and special teams win it. And that's what he did against Washington. A lot of people are saying that he was horrible against Washington. It depends on what you think he was trying to do. And I thought he did what he was being asked to do very well against Washington. Well, against Clemson, I think he'll need to do more because all of a sudden you've got Deshaun Watson, who has been there, done that. He'll be in the NFL next year while Jalen Hurts is still learning to shave as a true sophomore next year, true freshman this year. And I think that when it comes down to it, Watson is less likely to make the big mistake, and he's more likely to make the big play. And so I think there's a big advantage for Clemson at that quarterback position.
Trevor, we are 1 week away from the national championship game. Who wins next Monday night?
You know, I probably, when the time comes, I need to watch both teams on tape. Let me put it this way. I want to go back and look at the tape on both teams before I make a definitive pick. But I will say now that as I sit right now, I'm leaning towards Clemson.
Wow.
Okay.
Yes, I am.
Why is that?
And again, it's because of the quarterback position. Think of it this way. I play guitar. John Jorgensen is a guitar player. Jalen Hurts plays quarterback. Deshaun Watson is a quarterback. And I think that will end up being the difference because both teams will have a very disruptive defense. And as a matter of fact, I love the way their defenses play, but they play with a sort of a different feeling to them. Clemson's defense, they're joyful, the way they fly around. Alabama's defense is hateful. And that's actually Nick Saban's term. He says they play with a hateful streak, and he's right. I think Alabama's defense plays because they really seriously don't like you. And I think they actually are angry with the officials when they blow the whistle to stop a play because they're like a group of lions ripping apart a gazelle that then have to stop when the whistle blows. Whereas Clemson, they're flying around. They're all happy to hit you. That you still get smashed. It still hurts. But I think both of those defenses will control the game, and it'll come down to which quarterback can make that one play, which quarterback can avoid that one mistake.
There ain't no whistle in the safari.
No, and many a gazelle has lamented that.
Talking with ESPN college football expert Trevor Matich, BYU national champion. 1 week away from crowning a new national champion in 2017, but there are a slew of bowl games today, Trevor. Which matchup do you like today the most?
I like the Rose Bowl, Penn State, and USC, because USC was one of the hottest teams in the country coming into the second half of the season. A lot of people thought that they were good enough to be in the playoff had they not blown it with 3 losses early. Well, they have a chance to prove it now against the Big Ten champ. Penn State had a great case in being in the playoff themselves as the Big Ten champ, and yet they were frozen out for Ohio State. And they have a chance to prove that they belong. They have a chance to show that by beating USC that they really are for real and not just a team that was able to skin by a couple of wins and get into a position to where they really didn't deserve to be. So to me, there's so much at stake for both of these teams, even though it's not a playoff game.
Yeah, I love this day in college football. It's fantastic. It's been a few days, and there's been plenty of coverage, and I really appreciated what everyone did here at BYUtv. I was gone, but and your comments as well on not only this program but SportsCenter as well. What kind of reaction have you seen from your colleagues at ESPN since the news of the passing of LaVell Edwards, Trevor?
You know, it's been amazing the expressions of support, because LaVell Edwards is well known here. People understand LaVell Edwards here. And so many people have stopped me in the halls and sincerely, looking me in the eye, expressed condolences to not just me, but to all the BYU Nation. And they say it that way because they understand what a loss this is. And the thing that I come back and tell them is that it is a loss. But my goodness, what a life well lived. When you look at LaVell Edwards and what he's done in his life, his personal life, his professional life, he succeeded at impacting so many people at such a high level, even people that never met him, but especially the ones that knew him best. And because of that, I think, you know, as sad as this is for us, what a celebration of how to do it, of how to be. And I tell people here when they come up to me and ask me about LaVell, I tell them that there are 2 quotes that are well known around BYU. One is, no success compensates for failure in the home. The other is, the greatest gift a father can give to his children is to love their mother. LaVell Edwards succeeded at the highest level at both of those, and that is the bedrock upon which all the football wins were built. And when I say that to people here, they just sort of nod, and it's like, you know what, that's a great point. And so LaVell, his legacy continues to grow, and it always will, because of the people that he has inspired to be better, because they sought for him to look at them and say that he respects them. And so the sadness is deep. The sadness at some point, you know, will fade like everything else does. But the celebration, I think, will never end.
Trevor, fantastic stuff. We appreciate the time as always. Enjoy the day full of college football, and we'll talk to you again when college football has a new national champion.
Great. Thanks, guys.
Trevor Matich on the Deseret First Credit Union Hotline. Deseret First, your values, your timeline, your financial future.